Hello YouTube, this is an Ace Special, and today I'm going to talk about Digital Homicide some more. So, some of you are probably aware that Digital Homicide has basically demanded and tried to bully me into taking down the last video I made. In response, I decided to let the fine folks of Reddit be aware of the situation, and the end result was about as predictable as you might expect at this point. The number of views skyrocketed, Digital Homicide's comments were getting constant, less than happy replies, and they decided to delete all the evidence they could, after it got saved by multiple people, including yours truly. Now, I could end this little story where it is at right now, but there is more that I feel should be addressed. See, before doing this, Digital Homicide tried to get me to delete the video by sending me private messages, so allow me to discuss these messages, as well as give some extra commentary on the results of the latest turn of events. I should mention before we begin, I'm not going to actually read the messages to you word for word, as much as I'm going to provide commentary to them. I am, however, going to leave them up so you can read them at your leisure if you so desire. I also want to speed through these messages quickly myself, though, so I can get to the points I'm trying to make. So, starting with the messages, basically Digital Homicide decided to start their contact with me by insulting my character, and then spending most of the message trying to basically prove that they are innocent, and to their credit, even providing some evidence, such as a screenshot of emails between them and Twitter, before finally asking me to take the video down. They went to great lengths to explain that it was simply not possible for the Victory Games account that they had to be the same one that put Dark Hills Revengers onto Greenlight. I should also mention that they say in this message that they are, quote, considering a subpoena to find out who the imposters were, but basically haven't done anything other than ask Twitter for information about the fake Xenobite Studios account. I should mention that much of the information provided by Digital Homicide, particularly the Victory Games discrepancies, were known beforehand, as I myself pointed them out in the community investigation on Reddit into the matter. Still, it is interesting to see that Digital Homicide has sent emails to Twitter on the matter, although it should be mentioned that the exact content of those emails were heavily censored. So my reaction to this, basically, was to point out that much of the information presented was already known by myself, and that at the time I had no intention of deleting the video. A statement I still possess. I did mention, though, that were the situation to change, if, for a hypothetical example, Digital Homicide was proven innocent, I might change my mind. Don't worry, though, I'll explain my reasoning for this later on. Moving on, I realized the opportunity to ask Digital Homicide what information they had on the Dark Hills Revengers project, and basically the response was that they believed it was a fake. They did also mention something about the fact that they thought that they had seen this project earlier, and they believe it may have got greenlit. But that just contradicts them when they said this in the same message that they believed it was a fake. So I thanked them for their information and basically gave them some info me and others had uncovered ourselves. Now we can jump on to the very latest bit of news from those guys. Remember when I said that they made those demands earlier and then took them down? Well, they decided to pick right back up where they left off with their demands. I decided to explain to them in the comments that were they innocent as they claim they are, then maybe, just maybe, they should focus their resources on getting the so-called imposter instead of focusing on someone with a present grand total of 133 subscribers. I even told them openly that if they could bring this imposter to court, then I would willingly do something about my video. This is the point where I perceive them as becoming even more extreme. Basically, they made the claim that it was somehow difficult to prove that they were being impersonated, but then that it was easy for them to prove that I was being malicious and biased in my video by merely thinking that they were responsible for the Tumblr blogs and Twitter accounts. So their answer, according to them, is to use a case against me as an excuse to get that subpoena and basically use me as a scapegoat to get that dastardly imposter they talk so much about. Okay, so what are my opinions on this whole situation? Well, first I'm going to discuss why earlier I decided not to take my video down at the beginning. I will be frank here in stating that Digital Homicide has convinced me well enough that the Victory Games profile was likely not used to put Dark Hill Revengers onto Steam, or even Greenlight. But then again, Digital Homicide would never have had to use it anyways. Let's not forget that Digital Homicide has many games on Steam and Greenlight using multiple fake company profiles. And to be fair, the main Digital Homicide Steam profile itself does show some evidence of them experimenting with name changes, and even apparently censoring at least one of the names. And this is just considering the profiles we know are theirs. There's no telling how many fake accounts they really have. Now, some might say I'm being a little extreme by mentioning the possibility of them using another profile instead to try to release a game. But let's remember that we are dealing with Digital Homicide here, a company well known and documented for going to extremes that are otherwise unheard of in the games industry, such as selling games on Steam using names of other companies, like for example, ECC Games. Hypothetically, at this point, if Digital Homicide is as innocent as they claim they are, I would suggest the only real way to prove it would be to find the person who impersonated them. Now, I will say that technically the fake Xenobyte Studio account did claim not to be Digital Homicide, which prevents Twitter from taking action according to their official policy. That being said, were this the work of someone else, they did at the very least impersonate using behavior that I am sure many would consider to be distinct and nearly identical to the known actions of Digital Homicide. I could list the similarities here, but I've done it elsewhere before, and as an easy way to gauge how easy it was for people to believe Digital Homicide was behind the fake Twitter account and Tumblr post would be the fact that Digital Homicide itself sent emails to Twitter describing the account as an impersonation, meaning that even Digital Homicide thought it acted in the exact same behavior that Digital Homicide itself is known for, despite the Twitter account claiming not to be them. Ultimately, trying to prove I was malicious and biased for thinking a Twitter account is actually run by Digital Homicide is pretty hard to do when Digital Homicide itself was reporting the Twitter account to Twitter for impersonating them, and had seemingly believed that notion weeks before my video was even made. Now, if Digital Homicide really needs to sue somebody over this whole mess, they do have options. They can try to sue the anonymous individual who made the Twitter account. Yes, it is an actual thing these days. You can technically sue people even when you know nothing about them. Even if Digital Homicide doesn't actually win the case, they can at least get the subpoena they want, and I'm sure others like Jim Sterling or Peter Lasarski or even the real Xenobyte Studios would be in a great position to put that subpoena to good use and file charges against the individual. And at the end of the day, what really would matter would be that the imposter would be dealt with. If Digital Homicide is innocent, of course. Well, that is pretty much all I have to say at this present time. If Digital Homicide has decided to watch this, and hopefully they've decided to take my advice to heart and instead sue the anonymous Twitter account holder. Assuming, again, they are innocent. My offer still stands, of course. If they are innocent and can bring the imposter to court and prove that individual's guilt, I'll do something about my previous video. Until then, though, hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.